sudden he starts saying, "It is so nice to wake up in the morning with the birds chirping. Do you hear the birds out there?" And he started going on and on about the birds, and it made me reflect how nice it is to have the windows open, that breeze coming in early in the morning, hearing those birds waking us. This is the beautiful time of year, and we need to appreciate it. So, all right, our worship team today on piano, Dennis Curley. And Dennis and Paula Lammers, our music director, will lead our congregational songs, and Paula will be providing our special music. Greg Iden is on our soundboard. Cheryl Fairbanks is our technology coordinator, managing all the internet stuff. And our platform assistant is Mary Copet. So let us go ahead and open in prayer. And as we prepare ourselves for this day of worship, this day of communion with each other, this day of community, we just pause, take a breath, and we connect not only with ourselves, that inward presence, but we also send out that energy and light and connect with those others in the room and all those out in the world who are unable to be here today. And as we make that connection, we know our hearts fill with gratitude. Gratitude for this opportunity to come together and worship. Worship the God of our understanding, to freely come together and be able to gather. And from that place, we open our hearts, we open our minds, we open our spirit to hearing and listening with those ears of the heart, allowing all that we hear to move us, inspire us, challenge us into new ways of being, of doing, and having in the world. And from that willingness to be inspired and transformed, open and receptive to that living spirit of truth, we enter this time of worship with a sense of reverence and awe. And so it is from that sense of reverence for all that we experience, for that presence of the divine in every step and every breath, we welcome this day, we welcome this service with grateful hearts, and we say, thank you, God. And so it is. Amen. And Paula and Dennis will lead us in our first song.
Good morning, everybody. Please turn to song number 5, House Built on Love, and stand and join me in singing. This is a place of great power. We are all children of God. We find great strength as a people of prayer. This is a house built on love. This is a place filled with peace. This is a sacred place. We join our voices in glorious harmony. This is a house built on love. This is a place of great power. We are all children of God. We feel great strength as a people of prayer. This is a house built on love. This is a place filled with peace. This is a sacred space. We join our voices in glorious harmony. This is a house built on love.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome. It's a pleasure to be here all together on this beautiful morning. As far as announcements today, since it's the third Sunday of the month, we have fellowship and treats after service. The treats were provided by Greg LaFavor, so gather around the table afterwards for a little munch. Any other announcements? Marquita, Marquita, you have to come up to the microphone, otherwise the folks at home won't hear you.
I just wanted to, and I will thank the temple, but I noticed they moved the restroom sign over to the left of the door, so now it can be seen, and it is for all of us to use during the service and other functions. And also, just quickly, there is an amazing concert taking place at Augustana Lutheran Church on Emerson and Robert Street in West St. Paul today at 4. And it features classical composers from Latin America. And the last song will be a choir singing, and I know someone singing in it. Lobos? A famous.
Oh, Hector Villalobos?
Yes. And it's Brazilian. So anyway, it should be really beautiful. It's free. So I just thought I'd let you all know.
Anything else that we need to know about? Yes, Dennis.
I got a quick one. Actually, I was just quickly piggybacking on the restroom thing. Since we're going to make this an all-gender restroom, those of us who are gentlemen who are used to just running in and out, we should be aware that maybe close the door and turn that lock sign to occupied so that, other genders don't wander in. Anyway, but no, I was going to say about a month ago, I did up this game. So you're welcome for that public service announcement. About a month ago, I did up my website and there were like nine events on it. And I was like, oh, this is great. Well, I just looked on it this morning and 7 of them are already gone. However, 2 that are remaining in the immediate future, Wednesday night, Table Salt in association with Nami Hennepin is doing a free show at the Bryant Lake Bowl at 7 p.m. It is music, sketch comedy, and improv, and it's called Laughing Matters. And it is to support the broadest possible community of mental health folks, clients, family, caregivers, everybody, but all are welcome to attend. Jim and I are putting on the show. We have some great folks from the Looney Lutherans coming to do a couple of their bits, and it's all about how laughing is one of the most important things for your mental health. So think about that. Free Wednesday, 7 o'clock, and also there's just a few tickets left on June the 1st. I will be singing a couple of songs by Dion because it's a Buddy Holly show at the History Theater. That show ran there for many, many years, sold out for many years. So it's a one-night only show, June 1st. All of this is on my website, DennisCurley.com.
Thanks. Okay, we will now recite our affirmation of faith, which is printed in your bulletin. There is one and only one presence and power active in my life and in the universe, the all-loving and wise Spirit of God. Let us also recite our vision statement for unity in the heart. Led by Spirit, we recognize God within everyone as we co-create infinite love, peace, and abundance in our global community. The daily word for today, Sunday, May 19th, is I am. I am a living expression of God. In the book of Exodus, Moses asked God his name. God responded, I am who I am. I am is the name of the divine presence within me, a reminder of my spiritual nature. Sometimes I may forget my divine identity by thinking of myself as weak, incapable, or unfortunate. If I have spoken disempowering words about myself, I release those thoughts and stop using those words. Each time I say I am, I strengthen my awareness of the truth of my being. I am God's life, love, wisdom, and strength, expressing uniquely as me. As I pay attention to my thoughts and words, I'm able to recognize and release limiting thoughts more quickly. My awareness of my true identity grows stronger and stronger. Our Bible quotation is from Matthew. He said to them, "But who do you say that I am?" And now let's have our second congregational song.
Our second song is found on page 38, Heart to Heart. And please stand and join me as you are able. Heart to heart, spirit to spirit, the winds of our truth have blown. Heart to heart, spirit to spirit, this circle of love will go on and on. Time and distance cannot erase the love and compassion we feel in this place. We'll hold the light for all to see. Connected as one, we'll always be. Heart to heart, spirit to spirit, the winds of our truth have blown. Heart to heart, spirit to spirit, this circle of love will go on and on. This circle of love will go on and on.
The Unity movement was founded on prayer. We would now like to focus our attention on our individual prayer needs today. Please take a moment to bring those to mind. Your prayer could be gratitude, concern, joy, anything that is on your mind and heart this morning. And now let us pray together. Our loving God, we know that all prayers are answered in the perfect way and time. Our hearts and minds are filled with the divine spirit as we feel the presence and power of God working through us. We affirm the highest good in all situations. Those present, please place your prayer notes in the basket at offering time. We will hold them in prayer at Unity in the Heart for 30 days and also send them to Silent Unity for additional prayer. Also, anyone may send a prayer request to our chaplains, our prayer chaplains, through our email address, unityintheheart@gmail.com. And now it's time for our first song from Paula.
I've been thinking a lot lately about how even the most challenging relationships work for our good and to make us or allow us to grow if we so choose. And this song, of course, is all about that. I've heard it said that people come into our lives for a reason, bringing something we must learn, and we are led to those who help us most to grow if we let them, and we help them in return. Well, I don't know if I believe that's true, but I know I am who I am today because I knew you. Like a comet pulled from orbit as it passes the sun, like a stream that meets a boulder halfway through the wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better, but because I knew you, I have been changed for good. It well may be that we will never meet again in this lifetime. So let me say before we part, so much of me is made of what I learned from you. You'll be with me like a handprint on my heart. And now whatever way the story ends, I know you have rewritten mine by being my friend. Like a ship blown from its mooring by a wind off the sea, like a seed dropped by a sky bird in a distant wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better, but because I knew you, I have been changed for good. And just to clear the air, I ask forgiveness for the things that I have blamed you for. But then I guess we know there's blame to share, and none of it seems to matter anymore. Like a comet pulled from orbit as it passes the sun, like a stream that meets a boulder halfway through the wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? I do believe that I've been changed for the better, and because I knew you, because I knew you, I have been changed for good.
I told her when I quit tearing up that I'd talk. So perfect song. And I was thinking about it when I was listening to her, and I made sure that she was doing it first. Sometimes they pick the perfect song and they put it in the wrong place. I wanted it first. So it's so easy as we're on our spiritual journey, we're on that spiritual path to think that we're doing it by ourselves. So much of the language is about, I need to change my thoughts. I need to do things differently. I need to. And yet we never are in the world alone. We never do things alone, and others affect us, and they change us for good. So thank you. So for the past few weeks, as we continue with that idea, we've been talking about creating that monastery in the heart, that safe place in consciousness that's not limited to a space in a traditional monastery. A place in consciousness where we know that we are safe, supported, encouraged, and that we have the disciplines and allows us to go deeper and deeper into that spiritual journey, discovering who we truly are and what we're called to be in the world and in all that we are. And we discover in that we're not separate. So to create that monastery of the heart, we actually have to have a conversion of our heart to allow that space, that connection, that safe area where we feel supported and support unconditionally. We let go of that belief that somehow we always, and I can live this one, I'm always keeping part of me separate from everybody, because then, as Paul Simon said, then I can't be heard. I am a rock. I am an island. You know, if I never loved, then I never had felt pain. We let go of that separation consciousness and we shift that consciousness to one of connection, interrelatedness. We live in a culture and a world that has this illusion of this rugged individualism. Of course, it's a paradox because we're both and. We are, as individuals, resilient. We are creative. We're in charge of our thoughts, our mind, our actions. We exist and we create individually from, but yet we live in our connected in a world, and that world that we so much live in is an illusion. Anybody ever heard the term pull yourself up by your bootstraps, right? You know, that rugged individualism. I did it on my own. I did it. There's a lot of I's in that conversation. We forget when we're forget the notion from social justice people that says not everyone has boots. Forget that. Just set that aside for a bit. You forget someone else made the boots. Someone else made the laces. Someone else a lot of people made the rubber. Someone raised the cows if they're leather boots, or whatever you're using for the thing. There are myriad of people who come together so that you individually, by yourself, with no help from anyone, raised yourself up by your bootstraps. Don't forget your school teachers. Don't forget your parents. Forget all those people because I raised myself up by the bootstraps. I am man. No, never mind. We won't get into that. We don't live in isolation in the world. We live in a social, economic, cultural, religious, historical, racial context that weaves with us. Because, the old story is it's easy to be spiritual when you're in a cave. And yet at some point you have to enter the world. Sister Jones says the Benedictines do not teach in their system that you separate yourself from the world. You do your work in the world. Your work is not to be separate and apart, cloistered and separated, safe in your little cocoon. Your work is to be in the world. In that monastery of the heart, we're in the world doing our work with a whole lot of people who don't understand us, don't know us. A monastery of the heart is not a place we drop in from time to time. I think I'll go visit my safe zone now. It's not a place that we drop in. It is a place in consciousness that we live from and a community of others that we share our home with. We may leave at times. We may be out in the world alone, but we're always connected back to that community and that home that we always know is there. Sometimes we don't even know it's there. How many people have heard the word when somebody came into a Unity church for the first time and they said, I feel like I've just come home? It's one of my favorite lines from Rocky Mountain High, which is, coming home to a place I've never been before. I get God bumps just thinking about that one. It's a place where the Apostle Paul said, we bear one another's burdens, and in this way we fulfill the law of Christ. We know that even if I'm not in your physical presence, that you are bearing my burdens with me. I'm talking about community, and the Stanford Social Innovation Review, there's a word, uses a precise sociological definition for this community that we create and live in. Community is not a place, it's not a building, it's not an organization, nor is it an exchange of information and ideas over the internet. Community is both a feeling and a set of relationships among people. When we create this monastery of the heart, we're creating a community of people in which we have relationships with, and like all relationships, they can get a little dicey, but we create these relationships, and no matter what happens, we always know they are there. We have this shift in consciousness. And as 1 Peter said, where we maintain constant love for one another and be hospitable to one another without complaining. And Landers would go out of business if everybody lived from this consciousness. We learn to move from this consciousness of me to one of us. That we are in this together. We're on this journey. Yes, you have to do your steps alone, but we're in it together. As my first sponsor said, I'll walk through, excuse my language, I'll walk through hell with you, but I won't walk for you. We walk through the darkest valley together, supporting and sustaining each other in those dark times and good times. We move from a consciousness that seems so prevalent right now as, well, what's in it for me? Everything's a transaction. Well, I'm going to do this, but then you owe me that. To one of connections where we give of ourselves unconditionally, where we give of ourselves through love, through compassion, through understanding, where we give of ourselves because what we're called to do and be is to give and serve. We shift that consciousness from me to us. And then know that even when I'm by myself, that connection stays. Did anybody have a connection that you know that they're part of your monastery, that you're part of your community, that you don't see very often? I just met not too long ago with a friend of mine. I probably hadn't seen him since COVID. And it was like I had seen him that afternoon. We just instantly always have that connection, and we always know we're connected, even though we don't have the opportunity to get connected very often. And this is the foundation of every 12-step program there is in the world. There are I think it's something like over 245 12-step groups, so it's not like limited to AA. There is no I in a 12-step group. It is always us. We are doing our work together. Those who have gone forth first provide guidance to those that are coming along. And when times and conditions are tough, we know because we're part of that community, part of that us, that we have people we can draw upon, that we have people that are there for us unconditionally, to be there, support us, assist us in whatever way we need. And this is from the Acts of the Apostle, chapter 2. This is an ancient tradition, this community of believers, a community of love, whatever community how you want to frame it. All who believed were together and had all things in common. They would sell their possessions and good and distribute the proceeds to all as they had need. Day by day, as they spent much time together in the temple, they broke bread at home, ate their food with glad and generous hearts. People didn't go without because they hadn't put in the time. That's just the way the economy works. If you don't have it, you should pull yourself up by your bootstraps to be able to have. They shared everything willingly because they were of one mind, one spirit, one faith. They had created that community of believers. They had a conversion that had them shift to a new way of living, but also a new way of being in the world. Not asking what's in it for me, asking how can I serve you? How can I be in connection with you? How can I be in relationship with you? I read this today and I can't remember where I read it. It was a little quote within something else I was reading. But the authors were Laura Schmidt and Amy Lewis Rao. We can experience joy, love, and beauty on this planet even as it changes around us. To do this, we need to build personal and collective resilience and ability to find equanimity in unpredictable times. Connection and community has the power to ground us when the world is chaotic. Connection gives our lives meaning, offers joy, even in the darkness of the unknown. That connection and community allows us to create meaning even in the midst of those dark nights of our soul that come about. So we began to live with a new consciousness with the support of a beloved community around us. We can face all of life's challenges, all the twists and turns, the sudden disruptions in the force. I feel a disturbance in the force. We can do it with grace and with faith, because we know that there is a community that supports us. They know that there is a community that is behind us, that both in good times and bad. Now, here's the caveat. When we first enter into this, I know I did it, it's like, I am so excited to finally have found my home in unity. I'm so excited. I am so filled with the Spirit that I want to embrace everyone. I want everyone in my little sphere. I live in a bubble anyhow. I want to keep my bubble going and I want to embrace everyone. Be careful. We have the power of discernment, or Charles Fillmore calls it judgment, and wisdom. We have this power to make some decisions. You can embrace everyone and love everyone, but you may not want to bring everyone into the community. Maybe not yet. Some just might not be a good fit for the community. They might be a little different. Charles Fillmore wrote this: I know a man who is a natural pessimist. And if anyone mentions something that is not to be emulated, he will say, now let us be careful about that. If you speak to someone who's doing good or work for the community, he will always throw in a little depreciation. His whole life has been like sodden bread. Everything falls flat in his affairs, and he doesn't understand why. We might be careful if you live like I do in the world of butterflies and unicorns. You might be careful to bring in a skeptic. Might be good, might not be good, but to use some of that wisdom of who we're inviting in. We want to invite people in who both have the compassion and understanding, but also can see through sometimes the illusions and our own self-imposed limitations that we might put upon ourselves. We want those in our inner sanctum that can both hold us high, see us creative, see us as resourceful and resilient, and also the ones who can kick us in the keister when we need that good boot. And this is creating a community in which you feel that comfort is not I'm here and then I'm there. It's an ongoing process that we live into. In the real world, the monastery, not everyone stays. Not everyone gets invited in, not everyone. So using that as a metaphor, the community has to evolve and grow and develop. So we use our discernment to discover who we're allowing in, because it's important to have both the compassion and also that well-placed boot once in a while. It's easy. I don't know about you. It's easy for me to minimize myself at times. It's easy for me to be self-deprecating and not take any credit. It's easy for me to fall into a habit of, I don't think I can do it. To not see my progress on the journey. And that's when it's nice to have people in there who can see things I can't see yet. What's that? That's what I have Robin for. So I remember we used to do what's called a oneness blessing down in Louisville. It was a 1 minute oneness blessing. It's really basic, just think Reiki, kind of like that, with a little bit of mysticism put into it. And I said, I love having someone come over, we'll do it on Mary, and come over and for 60 seconds just hold their hands above my head and see the oneness in me. No conversation, no talk about what's on, just seeing the oneness. And I said, and sometimes as I'm building that community in my community of the heart, the monastery of the heart, I need people with words. I need a God with a body. I need someone saying something, because when I'm in my stuff, I might like you putting your hands over my head and holding me in prayer, but my head's going, just swirling in its stuff. I'm in a hurricane and you're standing in the center of the hurricane and I'm in the middle of the hurricane. So I need someone who can see me for who I truly am, that I can't see yet. What a prayer chaplain does is sees you healthy, sees you whole, sees you well, sees you prosperous when you can't see that. But you have to trust the person who's saying those words to you. Otherwise it falls, like Jesus said, on infertile ground and those seeds are eaten by the birds. So be careful as you're building that community, that monastery of the heart, that it's not to exclude anybody, but use your wisdom and your discernment. That's why we have the 12 powers. This is the last of that series. We'll be moving on to a new series in 2 weeks, which will be being, doing, and having enough, which I like that. When is enough enough? But so when we build our community, just know that that's kind of what a small unity community like this is for, that we are internally within the contained here, a monastery of the heart, in which I see it every day, in which people come in and everybody is connected to each other, and that is always available to you in whatever may be happening. So let us move to a time of meditation.
In the silence there is peace. In the silence there is unspoken joy. In the silence there's release from a world full of chaos and noise. So I wait for these precious moments when I hear all that could never be said, and right here in this holy silence I find God, I find myself.
And now, as we move into a time of meditation and reflection, time of stillness, we allow ourselves to be comfortable. If we're at home, I invite you to set aside anything that may be a distraction and give yourself that permission to simply be for a bit. If you're in person here in the room, if you're a little uncomfortable from sitting for a while, move around, allow yourself to be comfortable, giving yourself that permission to simply be as well. And as Jesus guided us, we go to that upper room. In my house, there are many rooms. We go to that upper place in consciousness and we set aside some time and close that inner door to the outer world. And I would invite us to use our power of imagination, one of the divine powers, 12 powers Charles Fillmore talks of, and imagine what it feels like to be fully supported, to be loved unconditionally, to know that that support, that compassionate presence, that love is with you now and forever. And as we reflect on that feeling and that experience, we then let that go and take that feeling with us. And we move into a time of stillness. And we just rest in the presence, in the awareness of the divine, in this stillness. And so now, as we prepare to leave this room, and we simply take a breath and allow ourselves to be centered and present right where we are. As we re-enter the world, we do it from a place of gratitude and appreciation for that opportunity to have stepped apart for a bit, to connect with that presence within, and know that that presence is always available. And that when we're struggle to connect and find, we know the community, that community and monastery in our heart, that community of beloved friends is there to assist and guide us to return to the place we never left. And so it is. Amen.
Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. Be still, be still, be still, and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. Be still, be still, be still, and know that I am God.
Thank you, Reverend Ray, for your message and meditation today. Now is the time when we acknowledge that all we have comes to us from God, our source. With our gifts, we express our openness to give and receive and our gratitude for God's generous supply.
My gift goes forth on the wings of love, and it lands where it can heal and bless. It returns to me, multiplied 1,000-fold, as the universe says yes, yes, as the universe says yes.
Let's join together in our affirmation for gifts, which is printed in your bulletin. Together. Divine love and wisdom flowing through me, bless and multiply all that I give, all that I receive, and all that I am. Let's join together in blessing our gifts. With grateful hearts, we bless our gifts and say, "Thank you, God, for the abundant blessings we enjoy." We release our gifts as they go out into the world, expressing God's unlimited love, abundance, and supply. For those who wish to contribute electronically, if you are watching live, on the screen in front of you, you'll see a QR code. You can scan that and then follow the instructions to donate during the service. Or after the service, you will find a donate button on our webpage. Also, anyone may mail us a contribution at Unity in the Heart, 1898 Eigelhart Avenue, St. Paul, Minnesota, 55104. And now it's time for our second selection from Paula.
You can play the game, you can act out the part, though you know it wasn't written for you. Well, tell me, how can you stay stand there with a broken heart, ashamed of playing the fool. One thing can lead to another. It doesn't take any sacrifice. Oh, father and mother, sister and brother, if it feels nice, don't think twice. Just shower the people you love with love. Show them the way you feel. Things are gonna work out fine if you only will. Shower the people you love with love. Show them the way you feel. Things will work out right if you only will. You can run, but you cannot hide. This is widely known. Now what you plan to do with your foolish pride when you're all by yourself alone? Once you tell somebody the way that you feel, can feel it beginning to ease. I think it's true what they say about the squeaky wheel always getting the grease. Better to shower the people you love with love. Show them the way you feel. Things are gonna be alright if you only will. Oh, shower the people you love with love. Show them the way you feel. Things are gonna work out fine if you only will. Shower the people you love with love. Show them the way you feel. Shower the people you love with love. Show them the way you feel.
Next week, Karen Oni will be here, and she's going to be talking about living your principles. So, interesting segue from here to there. So, plan on being here. So, let's all rise. We'll do our peace song, followed by a prayer for protection.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as our creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Have a beautiful week. God bless.